What if ancient sailors mapped parts of the world centuries before modern explorers ever arrived? Hidden inside dusty archives and forgotten libraries are maps so strange, so advanced, that they continue to confuse historians even today. One of them appears to show Antarctica. "300 years before its official discovery." Another depicts coastlines with impossible accuracy for its time. Were these maps based on lost civilizations, forgotten voyages, or knowledge history failed to preserve? Even experts still debate the answer. Because the deeper researchers investigate these mysterious charts, the harder it becomes to explain where their knowledge truly came from. How could a map drawn in 1513 contain details that supposedly were not discovered for centuries? That question has turned the Piri Reis map into one of history's greatest cartographic mysteries. Created by Ottoman admiral Piri, the surviving fragment of the map shows parts of Europe, Africa, South America, and what some researchers believe resembles Antarctica's coastline. The problem is simple. Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820. Piri Reis himself claimed he did not create the map entirely from his own exploration. In written notes along the chart, he explained that he compiled information from much older source maps. Some were allegedly from Portuguese sailors, others, he hinted, were ancient documents dating back to civilizations long forgotten. This immediately raises a disturbing possibility. If accurate coastlines existed centuries before modern exploration, then somebody possessed advanced navigation knowledge far earlier than historians currently accept. Mainstream historians argue the Antarctica claim is exaggerated. They believe the southern section likely represents a distorted extension of South America. According to them, errors in projection and interpretation created the illusion of Antarctica. But alternative researchers disagree completely. They point to unusual coastline formations, ice-free land shapes, and geographical alignments that seem impossible for 16th century cartographers to invent randomly. Some theorists even argue the map preserves fragments of knowledge inherited from an unknown maritime civilization. What makes the mystery stronger is that no consensus fully explains how such detailed information appeared on the chart in the first place. Even if the Antarctica interpretation is wrong, the accuracy of several regions still surprises historians. So the question remains unanswered. Was the Piri Reis map simply misunderstood? Or is it evidence that someone explored the world long before recorded history admits? Who exactly was Piri Reis, and how did he gain access to maps that continue to puzzle historians centuries later? Born in the Ottoman Empire during the 15th century, Piri Reis was not merely a sailor. He was an admiral, navigator, geographer, and intelligence collector who spent decades traveling through some of the world's busiest maritime trade routes. His map of 1513 was not drawn from imagination. In his own annotations, Piri Reis openly stated that he used approximately 20 older charts and mappa mundi as references. Some came from Arab navigators, others from Portuguese explorers, and one source was allegedly linked to Christopher Columbus himself. This detail alone creates an enormous historical puzzle. If Columbus' charts influenced the map, how did Piri Reis obtain them so quickly after the voyages? Even more mysterious are the ancient maps he referenced. Historians acknowledge that many older geographical documents existed during the medieval world, but most disappeared through war, decay, or destruction. Piri Reis may have accessed archives no longer available today. Alternative theorists argue this is where the real mystery begins. Mainstream scholars remain cautious. They argue Piri Reis was a skilled compiler rather than evidence of lost civilizations. Medieval cartographers often copied older sources, combining accurate information with speculation. From this perspective, the map reflects accumulated Renaissance geography rather than impossible ancient knowledge. Yet one uncomfortable question still lingers. If these older source maps existed, where did they originally come from? And who created them with such remarkable precision? Because buried behind the fame of the Piri Reis map is an even deeper mystery: the vanished civilization that may have supplied its knowledge. Could ancient sailors have mapped Antarctica centuries before modern explorers officially discovered it? This is the question that transformed the Piri map from a historical curiosity into an international mystery. The southern portion of the map appears to depict a landmass extending beneath South America. To some researchers, the shape resembles the coastline of Antarctica, specifically Queen Maud Land. The controversy intensified during the 20th century when writers and alternative historians argued that the coastline appeared ice-free. Since Antarctica has been buried under massive ice sheets for thousands of years, this interpretation seemed impossible. How could 16th century cartographers know what existed beneath the ice without modern surveying technology? Mainstream historians strongly challenge this claim. Most scholars argue the southern landmass is simply a distorted version of South America caused by projection errors common in early cartography. Renaissance mapmakers frequently stretched coastlines due to incomplete geographical knowledge. According to academics, there is no credible evidence the map truly depicts Antarctica. However, the debate refuses to disappear because certain features still appear strangely detailed. Some geographical alignments seem too precise to dismiss entirely. Supporters of the Antarctica theory also point to later anomalous maps showing similar southern continents long before official discovery. The unresolved issue is not merely about Antarctica itself, it is about navigation capabilities. If ancient or medieval sailors somehow charted distant southern waters, it would radically change the accepted timeline of exploration. Why did another mysterious map appear only decades after the Piri chart? French cartographer Oronteus Finaeus published a world map that intensified the growing mystery surrounding ancient geography. Unlike the fragmented Piri chart, this map displayed an enormous southern landmass remarkably similar to Antarctica. What stunned researchers was the level of complexity. Rivers, mountains, bays, and coastlines appeared across the continent. To alternative theorists, this looked impossible. Antarctica would not officially be discovered for nearly 3 centuries, and even then, explorers could barely access its icy coastline. Some researchers claimed the Oronteus Finaeus map depicted Antarctica before it became fully covered in ice. They argued certain coastal features aligned surprisingly well with modern seismic surveys conducted beneath Antarctic ice sheets. Mainstream historians reject these conclusions. According to them, Renaissance cartographers commonly believed in a hypothetical terra australis, a giant southern continent thought necessary to balance the Earth geographically. The Oronteus map, they argue, reflects imagination mixed with limited exploration data rather than evidence of hidden civilizations. Yet this explanation leaves lingering questions. Why did multiple maps from different regions portray southern landmasses with oddly consistent shapes? Were these simply educated guesses repeating each other, or echoes of older source material now vanished? The debate becomes even more complicated because early mapmakers often copied from predecessors. If Oronteus Finaeus inherited details from older charts, the origins of that information become increasingly difficult to trace. And that is where the mystery deepens. Because whether these maps depict Antarctica or not, they reveal something undeniable. Ancient and medieval cartographers possessed geographical ideas far more advanced than many historians once believed. Most people imagine early civilizations hugging coastlines, terrified of open oceans. But mysterious maps like those of Reis and Oronteus Finaeus suggest a different possibility, one where ancient navigators possessed sophisticated maritime knowledge long before the modern age. Navigation in the ancient world was not primitive. Polynesians crossed vast Pacific distances without compasses. Phoenicians sailed across the Mediterranean and possibly beyond Africa. Arab navigators mastered celestial observation centuries before European expansion. These achievements prove advanced seafaring existed much earlier than many assume. Alternative theorists take this argument further. They believe fragments of an even older navigation tradition survived through copied maps and inherited geographical knowledge. According to this theory, ancient mariners may have explored far greater distances than officially recognized. Mainstream historians remain skeptical because no direct evidence confirms a global prehistoric civilization with advanced mapping capabilities. They argue human beings often underestimate the power of gradual knowledge accumulation. Renaissance cartographers could achieve impressive accuracy by combining reports from multiple explorers over centuries, yet unexplained gaps remain. Some maps appear surprisingly accurate for periods supposedly lacking the technology to produce them. But if such advanced navigation traditions truly existed, why did so much disappear? And perhaps somewhere among those lost documents was the original map that started the mystery centuries before Columbus ever sailed west. Are historians ignoring evidence, or are alternative theorists exaggerating coincidences? The debate surrounding ancient maps often becomes emotional because it challenges established historical timelines. But mainstream historians do not simply dismiss the Piri mystery without explanation. They argue there are logical reasons these maps appear more mysterious than they actually are. According to academic experts, Renaissance cartography relied heavily on copied materials from different cultures. Regarding Antarctica, historians overwhelmingly reject the claim that the Piri map depicts the frozen continent. Most believe the southern coastline represents a stretched version of South America. Since map projections during the 16th century were inconsistent, unusual land shapes were common. Scholars also emphasize that humans are psychologically drawn toward pattern recognition. When modern viewers compare ancient maps with satellite imagery, they may unintentionally search for similarities while ignoring inaccuracies. The Oronteus Finaeus map receives similar treatment. Historians argue the southern continent reflected the long-standing European belief in terra australis, a hypothetical balancing landmass rather than genuine exploration data. Still, mainstream researchers admit some aspects remain fascinating. The speed at which geographical knowledge expanded during the Age of Exploration was extraordinary. Yet one question still unsettles both sides. If these maps truly relied on older source materials, then where are those originals today? Most disappeared centuries ago, leaving only references behind. And that absence creates the perfect environment for mystery. Because whenever history contains missing pieces, speculation rushes in to fill the silence left behind. Why alternative theorists refuse to let go? Why do alternative researchers remain convinced that something extraordinary hides behind these ancient maps? The answer lies in the details mainstream explanations struggle to completely eliminate. To alternative theorists, the Piri map is not an isolated curiosity, it is part of a larger pattern suggesting forgotten maritime knowledge existed long before modern exploration. Researchers supporting these theories often point to the unusual precision of certain coastlines. They argue that some geographical relationships appear too accurate for 16th century technology. The Antarctica claim remains central because it represents the strongest challenge to conventional history. If even part of the southern coastline reflects genuine Antarctic geography, then somebody mapped regions officially unknown for centuries. Alternative theorists also emphasize the repeated references to older source maps. Reis himself openly stated that he compiled information from ancient charts. Supporters argue historians cannot simply ignore those claims while still using the map as evidence of Renaissance geography. Some theories remain relatively cautious, proposing forgotten exploration networks or advanced ancient navigators. So perhaps the greatest mystery is not the maps themselves. What if the real tragedy is not that ancient knowledge was mysterious, but that most of it was destroyed? Countless libraries and archives disappeared through conquest, fire, entire civilizations lost records that could have transformed our understanding of the ancient world forever. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria remains the most famous example. Ancient writers described it as one of humanity's greatest centers of learning. This possibility changes how researchers view the Piri map. Instead of representing impossible knowledge, it may preserve remnants of geographical traditions whose origins were erased. Ancient sailors could have accumulated information gradually across generations, only for most evidence to vanish later. Humanity knows only a fraction of what ancient cultures once documented. Entire scientific traditions may have disappeared without trace, and that uncertainty keeps the mystery alive. Because if ancient libraries truly contain detailed world maps now lost forever, modern historians may be reconstructing history from incomplete fragments. Did ancient civilizations possess the ability to cross oceans long before Columbus changed world history? Modern archaeology increasingly suggests the answer may be more complicated than once believed. Evidence now confirms that ancient seafaring cultures traveled astonishing distances using technologies historians previously underestimated. Polynesian navigators crossed thousands of miles of open Pacific Ocean, guided only by stars, currents, winds, and memory. Viking explorers reached North America centuries before Columbus. Phoenician sailors may have circumnavigated Africa under Egyptian sponsorship long before the Common Era. These examples prove ancient humans were capable of remarkable maritime achievements. This context fuels theories surrounding mysterious world maps. If ancient sailors already possessed advanced navigation skills, perhaps long-distance exploration occurred more frequently than official history records. Alternative theorists argue this could explain why maps like Piri Reis appear unexpectedly advanced. If ancient mariners truly traveled farther than official records indicate, fragments of their knowledge may have survived in copied charts passed across centuries. But if those sailors existed, who were they? Where did they sail? And how much of their world disappeared before modern historians began reconstructing the past? Because somewhere between mythology and evidence lies a forgotten chapter of exploration history still waiting to be fully uncovered. Why do mysterious ancient maps continue capturing global attention even after decades of academic debate? Because the Piri Reis map represents more than cartography, it symbolizes humanity's fear that history may be incomplete. Every unexplained detail creates the possibility that entire chapters of exploration vanished before modern records began. The fascination survives because neither side has completely solved the mystery. Mainstream historians provide rational explanations for many anomalies, yet certain questions remain frustratingly open. Alternative theorists offer bold possibilities, but often lack direct evidence strong enough to convince academia. This unresolved tension keeps the debate alive generation after generation. Each new satellite image, archaeological discovery, or reanalysis of ancient charts revives speculation once again. And the more researchers investigate, the clearer one truth becomes. Human history is far more interconnected than older narratives once suggested. Perhaps the greatest lesson from the Piri Reis mystery is not that a lost super-civilization mapped the world. Perhaps it is simply that knowledge travels in ways history struggles to preserve. Because if humanity already lost so much historical knowledge, we may never fully reconstruct the true story of ancient exploration. And maybe that is why these maps feel so haunting. They offer glimpses of forgotten worlds without ever revealing the complete picture. Enough evidence exists to spark curiosity, but never enough to close the case completely. So centuries later, the mystery remains suspended between science and speculation, history and imagination. And somewhere hidden beneath the surviving fragments of old maps and vanished archives may lie the answer to a question historians still cannot fully resolve. The Piri Reis map remains one of history's most fascinating mysteries, not because it proves impossible theories, but because it forces us to confront how much of the past may still be missing. Whether the map truly depicts Antarctica or simply reflects distorted Renaissance geography, one fact is undeniable. Ancient and medieval civilizations possessed far more geographical knowledge than many people once believed. And that changes everything, because history is not a perfectly preserved timeline. It is a puzzle assembled from surviving fragments. What survives today may only be a tiny fraction of what humanity once understood about the world. Mainstream historians urge caution, and rightly so. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But skepticism alone does not erase the genuine mysteries surrounding these ancient charts. The references to older source maps, the strange geographical similarities, and the advanced navigation traditions of early cultures continue raising questions nobody has fully answered. Perhaps there was no lost super-civilization secretly mapping Antarctica thousands of years ago. Or perhaps fragments of forgotten exploration survived longer than historians realized. Right now, nobody can say with absolute certainty. And maybe that uncertainty is what makes the mystery so powerful. So the next time you look at an ancient map, remember this: you may not just be looking at geography, you may be looking at the surviving echo of a world history almost completely forgotten.